I think it's quite funny that the Raspberry Pi outsells all of these products. That's quite cool. Might do a video on that. That seems quite interesting. Now, today's video is going to be a bit different to my normal affair. There's not going to be much editing. It's just going to be me chatting about stuff people buy on Amazon. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the various categories and look at the featured products in that category and then judge what people are buying. Now, before we get any further, I just want to say that Amazon.com's kind of browse feature isn't nearly as good as Amazon Canada's. So let me show you what I mean. If I go over here to Amazon.ca, if you go into a specific category, so if we go down to electronics and then we have PC components over here, you have a couple of lists. So you've got like related items to what you've been looking at, and then you've got like best sellers, most wished for. So you've got a bunch of categories that you can look through. And then if you go to a specific component, you again have these same categories. So you have like best sellers. It's a bit hit or miss because like here, for example, the best selling CPU is apparently an NVMe SSD. So it's a bit of a hit or miss every now and then. But I feel like this is a better format to browse with than Amazon US, which just gives you like a featured list. But you can still kind of figure out what people are buying with this featured list, and you can also gauge with the actual like amount of consumer reviews on each product how many people are actually buying it. It's not a perfect science, but you know, this video isn't about perfect science. So let's start off with graphics cards, for example. Now here, the first one is a 2080 Ti. Now I can tell you for a fact that this isn't the most bought graphics card in this category, but it's quite clearly an ad, and it's quite good at showing us how we can gauge whether something's an ad or not. Because if you see here, this has 36 consumer reviews, which isn't much, whereas the next one down, which is listed as a bestseller, has 275. So that's a good way to see whether or not, you know, it's actually a popular product. And I'm quite impressed with that. I mean, this is a really good RTX 2070 to buy. It's only $280, and as far as I know, this is the cheapest RTX 2070 that you can buy. And that's not great news for Navi. The fact that there is a $280 RTX 2070 available today, as opposed to a $450 Navi GPU in, what is it, like a month from now? So that's cool. It's good that people are buying that. And then this is also very promising, like these products here, because there is going to be the occasional cut though, because I am quite bad at speaking. But yeah, so here we've got the 1660 here, which is one of the cheaper versions of this graphics card, which is really good to see that people aren't buying the premium versions of budget graphics cards, because there are many videos on YouTube talking about how this isn't a very good idea. If you're spending like $240 on a 1660, just buy a 1660 Ti instead. Now, this list is primarily NVIDIA GPUs. You know, there's a slightly more expensive 2070 here. Oh, here, this is actually a really good value for money GPU, and it's good to see that a lot of people are buying it. Like, if you look at the consumer reviews, 162 as opposed to, you know, 41 on this 2060 and so on. And $200 for a 580 is a really good deal. That's an awesome graphics card. And over here, we've got an even better deal, $300 for a Vega 56 graphics card. That's a steal. That means you can buy a Vega 56 for not much more money than a 1660 Ti. So that's a really good purchase in my opinion. Yeah, it seems as though, like looking at this list, it seems as though people buying graphics cards are fairly well informed. Like there aren't any really weird graphics card purchases here. But yeah, like if you look at all these prices for the 2070, I'm quite worried about how much of an impact Navi is actually going to have on the market, because there doesn't really seem to be much of a reason for NVIDIA to drop their prices here. Okay, but let's have a look at something a bit more interesting. CPUs. Let's look at what people are buying. And this is, AMD really has this locked down. Like you can see here that there's a 9900K in second place, sorry. But it's got 240 reviews as opposed to like 710 and 644. So this may actually be like an ad, or just, you know, to break up the monotony of only having AMD CPUs. But this 2600 for $148 is a great purchase. If you're in the market for a CPU today, that's a highly recommended purchase. And then a 2700X is going for $280 at the moment, and a lot of people seem to think this is a good deal because a lot of people are buying it. It's a great purchase as well. I mean, if you compare that to the $485 of a 9900K, like, there really is very little reason to go for the 9900K instead. Yeah, this is, AMD really has this on lockdown. Like here, a 2700 is $210 for an 8-core CPU. That's a great deal. And interesting, oh, this is quite interesting. So we've got a 2950X, which is a Threadripper CPU, a 16-core, 32-thread Threadripper CPU, for only $50 less than the 3950X, which is going to be released quite soon. And this means that I don't know how much sense that 3950X makes. Because, like, yeah, the core clock is lower, but it's got a boost frequency of 4.4 as opposed to 4.7 on the 3950. And you get, you know, quad channel RAM, you get more PCI Express lanes, although it's only PCI Express 3 as opposed to 4. And the motherboards are quite expensive for Threadripper. But the motherboards for X570, like, they're also going to be pretty expensive. But yeah, so let's have a look at a different category here. What's next? Let's go to fans and cooling, see what kind of CPU coolers people are buying. Now, the most popular thermal paste is actually a really good purchase. I think $10 for some Arctic MX4. I use this quite a lot, and I think it's quite a good purchase. The most bought CPU cooler, I'm not very happy with. I think this is people shouldn't still be buying the Hyper 212. Now, I know that this is one of the most well-reviewed CPU coolers ever, and it's great value and so on, but okay, honestly, the CPU cooler you should buy instead isn't even on this list. But the new version of this, which is the Hyper 212 Black Edition. Have I spelled any of that correctly? No, not really. Oh, it can't even figure out what I wanted to get, what I wanted to show me. Here. So the new version, the Black Edition, is about the same cost, and it's a much better looking cooler, and it performs really well. People should be buying this instead. But, I mean, it seems like people are, because you've got 8,000 user reviews on that, which is a lot, especially considering how new that CPU cooler is. And you've also got 8,000 on the 212 Evo. So maybe it's not that people aren't buying it, it's that Amazon should be recommending that instead, because I think it's a better cooler and it's way better looking. You don't really have a reason to buy that cooler anymore. And then there's a lot of, like, all-in-one liquid coolers here. Especially 240mm AIOs seem to be really popular. But with that, I think let's check out one more category. Let's have a look at what SSDs people are buying. And the best seller here is a great purchase in my opinion. I really love this SSD. I've used it in many builds and actually did a giveaway on it a while ago. I think it's a really cool SSD, and it's good to see that people are buying it. And $80, just under $80 for a 500 gig SSD is a pretty good value. This is also quite promising. The fact that people are buying kind of cheap 240 gig SSDs as a boot drive for their PCs, I think is a really good move. Buying that over like a 1 terabyte normal hard drive is a really good purchase. But I mean, I talk about that all the time. This is also, if you want a better value alternative to the 860 Evo, this will perform fairly similarly. I think you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference between the two, and then you're saving a couple of dollars there. Oh yeah, it's actually quite interestingly, the best selling NVMe drive is a 1 terabyte 970 Evo. So that means that people jump from 500 gig SATA SSDs to 1 terabyte NVMe drives. Although it seems that the 970 Pro outsells that, so maybe maybe the featured list just doesn't rank it very well. Whoa, this is pretty crazy. Crucial P1. So that can't be right. That's a 1 terabyte NVMe drive for $120. That's a really okay. It's a fairly like loser NVMe drive, but That's still a lot faster than the SATA alternative. And I mean, what is a 1 terabyte SATA drive costing you? Let's have a look here. So if we, yeah, I mean, that's the same cost as a 1 terabyte SATA drive by Samsung, and you're getting an NVMe drive instead, and it's much faster. It's about, like, if this manufacturer information is correct, it's about 4 times as fast as that SATA drive. That's really great value. That's a good deal. I might actually do a review on that drive. But it's probably going to be really expensive in Canada. That's just kind of the way it works, I guess. Okay, with that, I think the video is going to be dragging on a lot, so thank you very much for watching. If you like this kind of informal video, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to do more of this kind of thing. I don't know how much you'll actually get from what I just did, but yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one, and until the next one, bye-bye. Oh, the police are coming.